Paul teaches us two things. And the first one he teaches us is, you got to pray. I'm not talking about those little prayers that we get into the routine, into the habit of praying. I'm talking about bold prayers. See, let me help you understand this. There is no such thing as casual warfare. There is no such thing as a light battle. There is no such thing as an okay infliction. God does not want you to be confused with what you are going through, so he equips you with the opportunity to utilize one of his greatest weapons, and that weapon is prayer. Paul prayed. And in order for you to get through what it is you're going through, you have to pray. And I'm not talking about the prayers that stop with you and your family. I'm talking about the prayers that changes the trajectory of a generation. I'm talking about the prayers that moves your church from one season to the next season. I'm talking about prayers that bring people from the north, south, east, and west to experience what it is that you may be uttering out of your mouth. Those are the type of prayers I'm talking about. Paul is in this prison cell, and not once does it mention he prayed, God release me, God free me, God take these chains off of me. But instead he prays, God, I pray that your brothers and your sisters would have love, and they would understand what it means to serve, and they would know what it is to advance the gospel of Jesus Christ. And if I remain in prison for the rest of my life, I pray that they know that all of it was to advance the gospel of Jesus Christ. Somebody shout, pray. When prayer becomes a priority, power is released. See, it is prayer that moves the divine on your behalf. Prayer gives an invitation to the divine to move where you need it to move. Prayer is an assignment given by God to your angels to be released when you open your mouth. See, when you open your mouth in prayer, God opens his heart. When you open your mouth in prayer, God opens his hand. When you open your mouth in prayer, it says the windows of heaven are open, so much so you can't receive all that God pours out for you. Somebody shout, pray. Paul understood, I may be in chains and my wrists may be shackled, but they have not closed my mouth. And as long as I got breath in these lungs, and as long as I have the ability to utter out thanksgiving and praise unto God and prayer unto God, I will do so, because I know when I am free here, I'll be free here. See, some of you are setting yourself up in a prison that God never intended for you to walk into. It's called the prison of silence. And if the enemy can strip you of your voice, he can strip you of your power. You better believe this prison guard was probably annoyed with Paul. He was tied to him 24 hours a day, and it mentions every 4 hours they would switch off prison guards. And you better believe Paul was preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ to the prison guards. As a matter of fact, it says it in Philippians chapter 1. It says that all the prison guards in this palace understand my assignment. And although I may be enchained, and although I may be shackled, and although I may be in prison, my assignment is still to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. And so even if it's to a prison guard, that prison guard is going to get the gospel. And even if it's to a person that's cleaning me up, that person's gonna get the gospel. And even if it's you and I can't see you, but I can write to you, you still gonna get the gospel. There's no excuses with me. There's only execution. And I wonder, am I talking to anybody right now that says, away with the excuses, I'm gonna find a way to get the gospel into the people that need it. Somebody shout, pray. We have made it our responsibility to delegate prayer to a particular group in church. We've abdicated our assignment to pray to a particular team. And we think because they're praying, the church is okay. Let's let the mothers pray. The church will be okay. Let's let the prayer team pray. The church will be okay. No, you have an assignment to pray. You have an assignment to pray, because when you pray, there's power that's released. Paul understood, when I pray, I have an expectation and an anticipation that what I am believing and expecting God to do, God will fulfill those things, because I have faith, and my faith moves mountains. And when mountains are moved, my blessings are moved as well. In order for you to have this mentality, though, you got to change your mind. Because your mind tells you, I don't got time to pray. Your mind tells you, if I'm dealing with my job, if I'm dealing with my kids, if I'm dealing with my parents, I don't have time to pray. I got too much stuff going on to pray, and I'm telling you, you don't have time not to pray. The only way you can deal with this situation, the only reason you can deal with the people, the only way you can deal with your job is to actually take out time and pray. Guess what? There's a time where you can set aside to pray, but how many of you know you can pray doing anything? You can pray doing everything. You can talk to God whenever you want to. He's not waiting for you to stop doing what you're doing to have a conversation with you. He wants to talk to you while you're doing what you're doing. He wants to be in a relationship with you. He wants you to know, I'll never leave you, nor will I forsake you. I'll be with you until the very end of all time. I don't need you to go into a closet to talk to you, although I like spending personal time with you. I just want to be with you. Paul didn't have the opportunity to escape into a prayer closet. He didn't have an opportunity to set the environment and the mood perfect to how he wanted it to be. He was chained to a prison guard. He was waist deep in fecal matter. He was in a terrible situation, but his mind was free. And because his mind was free, he said, my prayer is free. And if I can get a prayer out to God, God will free me and set my spirit up for a win every single day of my life. You have to pray. The second thing that Paul shows us, it can't just stop with prayer. It has to transition to praise. Because praise is proof that I believe what I prayed is actually going to happen. You know why people have a problem with praise? Because they don't actually believe that God is a fulfiller of his promises. You know why people have a problem with praise? Because it pushes them outside of their comfort zone. You know why people have a problem with praise? Because it's not their preference. But you don't understand praise until your feelings contradict your commandments. You don't understand praise until how you feel is a slave to what you've been commanded to do. You don't understand praise until it pushes you beyond your comfort into the realm of sacrifice, and you begin to say, God, you are good, even when you can't see how God is good. You begin to say, God, you are faithful, even when you can't see how God's been faithful. You begin to say, God, I believe, even when you don't believe. It should push you beyond how you feel. Somebody shout praise. See, it's prayer combined with praise that gives you power. If I can get a prayer up, and if I can get a praise out, it allows me to have power to function wherever I am. And it doesn't matter what's happening around me. As long as I don't roll down the windows, what's happening around me can't seep on the inside of me and impact and affect how I feel. I've decided that nothing that's happening around me is going to decide what happens in me. You make a decision of what you want to seep in. It's not the water on the outside that sinks your ship. It's the water you let on the inside. Paul is saying, I know how this may look, but I'm more alive than ever before because I got my prayer and I got my praise. And because I got my prayer and because I got my praise, I got my power. And I wonder, am I talking to anybody that says, I know how it looks, I got my power though. I know how I may seem, I got my power though. I know how I may look, but I got my power. And the reason I got it is because I changed my mind. I know I felt like giving up, but I changed my mind. I know I felt like throwing in the towel, but I changed my mind. I know I felt like walking away from my marriage, but I changed my mind. I know I felt like quitting my job last week, but I changed my mind. I wonder, am I talking to anybody right now that has a changed mind because you got your prayer and your praise? I know this is going to sound crazy right here, but I want you to put a 20-second praise where your faith is. If you believe in God for something, I dare you to stand up right now and act like God is already doing it. Come on, is there anybody that got your prayer and you got your praise? Why don't you put your faith to it? If you got your prayer where your praise is, you got your power. Somebody shout out, change my mind.